Hello, everybody. I'm down here in the right corner. Look at me. Thank you for tuning in. We are the Real Short Box Live. My name is Donald. Up above me here is Mr. Darren. Over here is Mr. Chris. And right here is Mr. Kevin. Kevin is almost hidden there in that dark room, kind of. So he's hiding out from us, I think, right now. But thank you for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate you, and we've got some exciting things coming today, particularly. Kevin is... I'm going to do some stuff in the background. I'm going to let Kevin explain what we're going to be doing and how it works, and we're going to go from there. So, Kevin, take it away.
All right. Welcome, everyone, again to this beautiful August Monday evening, no matter where you are in the world. Welcome to the most stupendous, wondrous, and sometimes magnificent podcast in the world today, The Real Short Box. First, let me start with the intros. Let us begin in the origin state of Ohio. He is a man who is the newly minted father of 2022. He is a man who comes from the great city and great state of Youngstown, Ohio. He is the master of all truths when it comes to pop culture. Ladies and gentlemen, up for Mr. Darren.
I can't hear you.
Next, we go to the man also from Ohio. He is a man who is DC Comics for life. He is a man who is the #2 fan of the great classical actor, Bruce Campbell. He is someone who was the 2000 Beefcake of the Year, Kent State University. Ladies and gentlemen, he is simply known as the original Donald.
Thank you.
And last but not least, he's a man originally from the great state of Michigan. He is a master teacher of future thespians everywhere. He is lovable, but always huggable. He is the man represents now the great state of Texas. He is simply known as Professor Chris D. Turr.
Thank you. I really wish you'd stop throwing in that great before Texas.
Now, many of our listeners love the great state of Texas.
Yeah, it is great in multiple ways, especially its size, which I learned Texas, in terms of square miles, is the second largest state in our country, but a third of the size of Alaska.
That is true. I mean, It shows you how big Texas is and how huge Alaska is. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
And of course, I am your humble podcaster, the Grand Master Jedi and Vulcan Arts, your Supreme Chancellor, Dr. Kevin. Tonight, brothers and sisters, we're going to go.
Hang on, Kevin, hang on. There you go.
Oh.
There you go.
Tonight, brothers and sisters, we're going to round 3, or part 3 of our 4-round tournament. The best movies of all time. NCAA style. This week, we're doing the best sci-fi and fantasy films of all time. So it's going to be an interesting list that we came up with. Now, don't blame us if you're upset about the list, because guess what? If you had to go to the Real Short Box fan page, you had to do it. If you vote during the last 6 days or so that it was posted, I'm sorry. But these movies aren't bad. I think these are pretty good choices by and large. But we're going to have a lot of fun.
I mean, you're taking the best fantasy films of all time and the best science fiction films of all time and boiling it down to 16 films. That's really hard to do. So the best you can do is offer nice representations of each category. And that's even hard.
But at the same time, really nobody voted for Star Wars?
Oh, we got a few, I think 2 votes for Star Wars or something like that.
I mean, Star Wars is like science fiction and fantasy all in one.
Here's the thing, though. I'm glad it didn't make it, because it probably would have won. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a dominant force already. We don't need it. We don't need to talk about it. We all know Star Wars exists. It's on Disney Plus, blah, blah, blah. Star Trek, we all know it exists. It's on Paramount Plus, blah, blah. You know, we've got it. They're represented well. Let's discuss maybe some films people haven't seen and might be interested in seeing, or something that they haven't seen in a long time, and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, they should bring that back.
Like the film behind me, Moontrap, starring Walter Koenig.
Moontrap. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen Moontrap, Darren.
It is interesting. I will just stop that.
Is Bruce Campbell in Moontrap? I can't remember.
He is.
Yeah, okay.
He is.
All right. I thought maybe. Yeah, good old Bruce Campbell. Always pulling in the clutch.
Yes, I think this is a very smooth transition where we can go on the so-called horn here and express our anger at certain films that did not make this list. So, Kevin, is there something that did not make this list that slightly infuriating to you?
3. I mean, you also already mentioned Star Wars, but I would say Wrath of Khan deserves some love.
Yeah.
As well as one of my personal favorites that I know a lot of people unfortunately haven't seen, and that's Dark City. It's a really good, underrated movie.
Yes, it's excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, it's great.
Chris, do you have any disappointing ones that missed this list?
I mean, of course, Star Wars, Excalibur.
Excalibur.
By the way,
really
I posted, so share, guys.
Okay, you got it.
But,
Yeah, Excalibur's a thick movie.
it is, yeah.
It's a good way to describe it.
That we're gonna make it. That did make it. For the most part, Harry Potter. I'm surprised that that's not on the list.
It was on the list for voting, but yeah, no one for some reason didn't vote for it. Surprisingly.
Donald, would you express your dissatisfied opinion on anything?
Just surprised Indiana Jones didn't get any votes. Back to the Future didn't get any votes. And also, Clash of the Mother Effin' Titans didn't get any votes. That was a heartbreaker to me, because that's the ultimate in fantasy in my book. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I'm amazed that no one else thought so. So there was that. But, what are you going to do?
Donald, the movie didn't make it either.
Which movie?
Legend?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Legend didn't make it. I didn't expect Legend to make it, though. It's a very... You have to have an acquired taste for it, to be honest. It's a very dark fantasy, kind of a dark fairy tale. So it's not an easy, very palatable one for a lot of people, unless you're in the mood for it. So I didn't expect
Early
it to.
Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah. Hello to Enrique. Hello to Mom and Dad. Everybody say hi to my Mom and Dad. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. McKinney.
And hello to Maria as well. Hi, Maria. Thank you for joining.
Howdy.
Hi, Miss Maria.
I will say on my side here, where movies that I was disappointed did not make this list. I was very disappointed the Road Warrior was not selected. I think it's absolutely iconic for its time, and we have become accustomed to seeing the world destroyed 3 times every summer. But it never really happened like that back in the day. This was a very unique kind of science fiction franchise of its own. Also, too, just on the fantasy side, I've always felt like the Chronicles of Narnia, the very first one, is highly underrated as an adventure film and a fantasy film. And I would have liked to have seen that up here as well. But we'll just save some of our remarks for the ones that we do have in this battle. And it's going to be colorful, I'm sure.
Okay. We got some comments. Walter says, the 8 Harry Potter films are better than any 8 Star Wars films. Fight me. And Amy says, thanks, Enrique, for reminding me this topic, as you know, I am all about. So, Amy, thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy us. We are here to rock and roll it. We're here to take your votes. And as always, how it goes is, hey, Josh, thanks for joining. As we all know, or should know, and for those that are new, as it goes, what we do is we do brackets. Now, the brackets will tell you what films are in and then they will either move on or be eliminated. Basically, be two films that'll be up against each other. You will vote. If you notice in the top right of the screen, there is a shot clock. It's set for 1 minute. That gives you 1 minute to cast your vote in the chat. We then count these votes in the chat live, and then state who the ultimate winner is after that time. Once we've chosen a winner, we move on to the next round. The next number, there are 8 numbers in here, 2 movies per number, so that's 16 films in total. So that means 8 films will move on then to the second round. And then 4 films, 2 films, and then we have an ultimate winner each time you vote. We will be giving out a prize at the end of the evening. It will be a Blu-ray of our choosing. We will mail it to you, or you could pick it up from us if you're local. We will mail it to you, and it will be, of course, a nice surprise. It will be a sci-fi or fantasy film because we tried to pair it with whatever you had won in. So if you won in the sci-fi fantasy or the comedy or, whatever, that's the kind of film you're going to get from us. And it will be a Blu-ray, not some silly DVD.
And we promise it won't be a porn parody.
And it might be Moontrap.
Yes, it could also be Moontrap. Dodgers 818, thanks for joining. What up, party people? What's up with you, buddy? Thank you for being here. I hope you are all having a wonderful evening. We're going to get started here in a second with the voting rounds. Before we do that, I just want to mention really quickly, if you go to splatteredfrog.com, now I'm going to type that in, not spattered frog. If you go to splatteredfrog.com and you type in coupon code SHORTBOX, you get 20% off your order. How about that? That's a pretty cool deal. So go to splatteredfrog.com. They are a brewery based out of Texas. I'm wearing the hat right now. Wonderful hat. And I love putting pins on the side. I don't have a pin right now because I took it off to replace it with a new pin. That's going to be awesome. That's going to go on the hat. You might see it next week. Who knows? And they do. They're a micro brewery. What is that called? What's the name of it, Chris? It's smaller than a microbrewery, but it is a small brewery. They are hoping to expand.
Macro brewery.
Macro brewery? Maybe they're a macro brewery. And they have some awesome beers. Nano. Thank you, Josh. It is a nano brewery. So that sounds even cooler than a microbrew. You ever have a nano brew? No, I haven't. That sounds amazing. And in the future, Chris, we are going to be doing a podcast of where we do beer pairings with film, and then I think we're gonna do a beer pairing with comic books too. So we're going to be doing, I think, both of those, where we pair beers that Master Brewer Josh has done with excellent comic books and excellent films that work well with it. So keep that one in your thoughts for future, because we will be doing that, I don't know, probably in a month or two. Amy says you had us at brewery. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad we did. Another one, though. How about hot sauce? Do we have you at hot sauce? If you go to halfshotsauce.com, let me type that in real quick, and you enter in the code. Now, this one's a fun code. Donald Hiccups. You will get 10% off your order. And they have some wonderful hot sauces. They have a trippy pickle. It's a dill pickle hot sauce. They have a main squeeze, which is a watermelon rhubarb hot sauce. They have a more cowbell, which is a mustard seed based, very spicy hot sauce. It'll kick your ass, guys. But it's delicious. It goes really well on a Philly cheesesteak. I'm not joking around here. Highly recommend it. So check them out also. These are our sponsors. They're wonderful people, and they sell wonderful product. And yes, my mom does love the Sugar Rush Peach, which she thinks is the best hot sauce they have also. So we're going to go ahead and get started, I think. Kind of starting a little earlier than we're used to, which is great.
Swell.
So let's get this rolling. We have a couple practice rounds on this side. Basically what we do, this is just kind of to get you warmed up, to get your juices flowing, to get you all excited for the big trip. Now, if there's a tie, if let's say there's 15 votes for one movie and 15 for the other, it'll go to the Supreme Council. Now, the Supreme Council consists of Chris, Darren, Kevin, and myself. Basically, we'll put on funny hats or clothes or something weird, and we'll vote. Now, if we decide that we can't break this tie up and we both vote, 2 and 2, then there is an ultimate tiebreaker. And since it is fantasy sci-fi night, I thought, well, how about something cool that's in this bag that we won't see come out of this bag until there is a tie of a tie. So if that happens, it'll come out of this bag and you'll see what we're going to be flipping with. But if not, then oh well, I guess we'll just wait for another time. But anyway, yes.
I think instead of putting clothes on, we should take clothes off.
Whoa.
All right. Well, that's an idea, Chris. That's an idea. Chris wants to get naked. I don't know how the audience will feel about that with us all getting naked, taking our clothes off.
Trying to increase viewership.
Yeah, we don't want to lower our viewership by me taking my shirt off. Yeah, Walter, we're going to bust a line and break a tie. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do lines and break ties all night. Like, all night. We're going all night, buddy. Don't worry. Okay, so let's get started here. Now, these movies didn't quite make it into the finals. But, they were good enough that either they paired well together or they had just barely gotten eliminated. So we thought, what the hell, let's throw them in there and let's just do this to kind of warm up. So these don't count towards anything. It's just who's going to win the round. First one we're doing is The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, this looks like the 70s one with Donald Sutherland.
Correct. So
we got The Invasion of the Body Snatchers there. And that one is going up against another science fiction film, actually. This one's an interesting one to pair with it, but I think it'll do well. And this is Independence Day. So, Donald Sutherland versus Will Smith. Go figure.
All right, so I'm going to go take Invasion of the Body Snatchers here. We're talking about the 1978 version, which is a remake of the 1955 B sci-fi film classic starring Kevin McCarthy. Obviously, what's very interesting about the 1955 version is it came out during a time when our country was going through Red Scare or communist paranoia, and the idea that communism was supposed to make everybody the same. The pod people were actually taking you over, and you were all the same. You were all part of the collective, if you will. Now, with the 1978 version, it's a little different. It's a lot scarier. It's a lot more tense, if you will. And it's got a rather depressing ending, because if you remember in the original one, there is hope in the end that everything will be figured out. They originally wanted a different ending in the 1955 version, which is the ending that ultimately ends up in the 1978 version. A real big surprise, the 78 version. I didn't think it would fare as well as it did, but I think it's completely fair to call it better than the original, although I just personally prefer the 1955.
That is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's going up against Independence Day.
Words about Independence Day.
Go for it.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he's in it. He's in that film. He's in that film.
a Roland Emmerich classic. I believe that it was one of the first movies in a long time to take in $300 million at the domestic box office. It was just that popular.
It did extremely well. I remember when I saw it, I went, no thank you. And then I took 10 years off, I rewatched it, and I went, no thank you. And then I watched it recently at a bar on a Monday night. They were doing Monday night movie, and they had discounts on like cocktails and food and stuff. And then they played Independence Day as the film in the back courtyard area. And I actually enjoyed it much more that way. I think it's one of those films where if I half pay attention to it and have good people around me, I'll enjoy it much more than if I'm just straight trying to watch it and take it in for the movie that it is, if that makes sense.
I feel like in that era, which that came out in 96, 1995, there was a Best Picture, Braveheart, And Mel Gibson's freedom speech is the absolutely, floored everybody as far as speeches and monologues go. And I feel like there was an attempt by a lot of films to have their Braveheart moment, which Bill Pullman has as the President of the United States when he gives his entire speech about how we are not being invaded by the British, but instead we are trying to avoid extinction as a race. It's just his great Braveheart moment. It's so over the top, but it's also so friggin' great. And then Randy Quaid, I just think is phenomenal in this movie as a complete goof off. Good casting. Adam Baldwin from one of Donald's favorites, Firefly, and various other people are in this that are really good. It's Independence Day. We all know you saw it.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's get started here. We're going to put a minute on the clock, and you guys will start voting. Darren, let's have you count votes for Body Snatchers, and Chris, let's have you count votes for Independence Day. How about that?
Got it.
Swell.
Walter says yes, but a line. Yeah, no, Walter. I think I've already said that. Enrique says it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. Gabe, hello. Thank you for joining. Josh says not Will Smith, but Jeff Goldblum. Amy says Jeff Goldblum for sure. And we're starting to get some votes in. So let's start counting these votes. Amy votes for Independence Day. Enrique votes for Independence Day. Mom votes for Independence Day. Gabe votes for Independence Day. Maria votes for Body Snatchers. Ryan votes for Independence Day. Ryan Kane, thank you for joining, sir. Josh says Chuck. I don't know what he means by Chuck. Must be a character's name. Ultraman Magnus says the best one is The Never Ending Story. But he's voting for Independence Day on this one. And then Dad votes for Independence Day as well. So it sounds like Independence Day kind of ran away with it.
That's right. Never Ending Story should have made the list too. I forgot to mention that. That's a great classic movie.
Should it have?
What?
If no one remembered to put it on the list, then I guess...
No, it was there.
It was there.
It was there?
That's
Dude, there's nothing lovable about Falcor the Flying Dog. He's a creep.
Oh, that's
Just
controversy
say it right now. Okay.
Controversy. How dare you?
Yep.
That's
How
what I'm
dare you?
do.
Oh, Josh. Okay, Adam Baldwin was in Chuck, so Independence Day.
Yes,
I got you. I love Chuck, too. Chuck's great. Never did finish it, though. I got to the last season, and I never finished it. And I should go back and watch it.
Yeah,
Here we go. Next round. This is just a test round again. We're getting everybody's juices flowing, getting them nice and excited physically in their loins. So let's get started. We are going with this one. Did not make it, but that's fine. Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes is one of the greatest science fiction films of all time. Come on, guys. And it's going up against another greatest science fiction film of all times, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Which, no bias here, Kevin has a picture of it behind him. No bias.
Kevin, which one you want to take?
I'll take 2001.
You going to talk about it?
Yeah.
Right.
This is a classic Stanley Kubrick movie, of course. Came out in 1968. Initially didn't do too well. It took many years for it to turn a profit, but a lot of people these days, they have trouble understanding it. It's not a traditional movie. There's only about maybe 45 minutes of actual dialogue, and it is kind of a trip, and some people have known to have got high watching the movie to really experience it and enjoy it. But that's what it is. It's kind of just a visual experience. You have to just sit there and just take it all in. HAL 9000, of course, the very somber, just neutral talking computer. That's a big part of the movie, and you just have to take it in for what it's worth. But of course, it has the great music. I can't say it right. It's Thrustra.
Also, Sprach Zarathustra.
Thank you so much. Now, it's famous for this movie, but later on, of course, for wrestling fans, it'd be famous for the intro to the great wrestler Ric Flair.
Okay. All right. So, next film? Or did you talk about both of them? I couldn't even tell. I fell asleep halfway through.
Planet of the Apes. I could take this one unless one of you guys would like to.
No, please. Hurry.
Also from 1968, Planet of the Apes, starring Charlton Heston, Kim Hunter, and Roddy McDowall. Definitely a film that it takes place in the future where where apes have evolved beyond humans, and apes are the intelligent life, and humans are, for lack of a better term, the dumb life. This came out at a time of nuclear scare. The big reveal at the end is one of the most famous reveals in the history of film, that it was Earth all along, and we destroyed Earth with nuclear weapons, and hence we went into a dark age from that. It's really good. The first sequence that jumps out at me is when the apes are hunting humans. It's just such a brilliant play on just nature and the food chain in and of itself. And yeah, there's so much great in this. If you haven't seen it, you're late to the party.
Right. Yeah, and Roddy McDowall, if I recall, this kind of really boosted his career, really, astronomically, in so much so that he became the star eventually once Heston left, and it kind of became more about Roddy McDowall's character as one of the apes. And he went on to be in another, a fantastic horror film, Fright Night.
Oh, yeah.
He was great in it. I recently rewatched it and was just blown away by his performance. It's just a fantastic film. So if you get a chance to watch Fright Night, also check that one out. Let's check out RJ Gonzalez. Thank you for joining. He says, Ric Flair drip.
That's right.
Josh says, what about the Mark Wahlberg version of Planet of the Apes?
I mean, they tried.
Yeah.
They tried. I give it to them. It's just the twist didn't quite work for me. It was clever, but it just still didn't work.
Yeah, the Tim Burton version with Chris Roth. Was it Chris Roth?
No, it's Tim Roth.
It's
Tim
what?
Roth.
Tim Roth. Thank you.
Tim Roth.
Jesus,
Tim Roth.
There we go. I was having trouble with that one. Tim Roth
And
was.
then,
He was
Helena
great.
Bonham
Michael Clark Duncan as well. Great cast. I feel like it would have done better if Mark Wahlberg wasn't the lead. I'm going to be real with that. I think he was a bad choice to play a lead in a film like that.
You tell it to his face, though.
Yes, I would.
Imagine if it had been Matt Damon.
Okay.
I mean, this is something I think is interesting, too, is that original Planet of the Apes has inspired multiple remakes, tons of sequels. There's 5 films in the original franchise. Then you have, of course, the Mark Wahlberg one, and then you have 3 Planet of the Apes films later on in the 2000s. There were also, were quite good, I thought, especially number 2. I thought was particularly great with Gary Oldman. But yeah, it's a sci-fi classic. It's kind of amazing, I guess, that not everyone has kind of seen it who's a sci-fi person.
Sure. All right, so we put a minute on the clock. Let's go ahead and press play on that. We'll get a minute for people to vote, and then we'll move on here. Let's see. Amy says that she's voting. Evan. Hey, Evan. Nice to see you, sir, or see your name in there. Trevor, what's up, dude? Trevor's going to cast his vote as well, which is nice. And we're going to throw all these in here. Let's start counting some votes while the clock winds down. Kevin, let's have you do 2001, and Darren, let's have you do Planet of the Apes. How about that?
Kate is going to give one to the apes.
Okay, we already have one for Planet of the Apes. That's good. Maria is voting for Planet of the Apes. Amy is voting for 2001. Ryan is voting for Planet of the Apes. Enrique for Planet of the Apes. Mom for Planet of the Apes. Dad for Planet of the Apes. Trevor is voting for Planet of the Apes. Evan says that we're giving him a boner.
Whoa.
Probably because of the films we chose. Okay, and Gabe says Planet of the Apes. Josh says Planet of the Apes. Raptor Bacon popped in. Thanks for joining. I'm just waiting for my cameo one of these weeks. Sherlock, that's Aiden, says Planet of the Apes. Thanks for joining, Aiden. And Evan says, I vote for anal. So Evan is drunk.
Whoa.
Can we tell the gentleman looking for the cameo we will gladly allow him on this podcast for $200?
Yeah, there we go. Ultraman Magnus is voting for 2001. Raptor Bacon's voting for Planet of the Apes. Austin is voting for Planet of the Apes. So it sounds like Planet of the Apes kind of ran away with it. Yeah.
It's a wipeout.
All right. So Planet of the Apes wins. against 2001: A Space Odyssey. Dun dun dun.
And now it's time for the real action.
Now it is time for the real action to begin. Here we go. Let's get this going. Oh, that didn't quite work, did it? Let's try this one. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas, guys. Now we're going to start this officially. Here comes the battles. We're going to hit you hard right away. You're going to piss your pants. I guarantee it. Just grab yourself right now because you're just going to piss yourself. It's going to be so exciting. Chris looks like he's already pissing himself, so of course he.
I'm actually, because Josh is watching it. I hear you in the other room, and so I got distracted.
Oh, okay.
A little ADHD action there.
That's all right, pee pants. Let's keep going here. I know it's Adam, buddy. I got you. It's still $200 though. I'm just kidding. It's not $200. Christine Martinez. Oh, Christine, you voted so late. And it wouldn't have counted anyway. Let's be real. It would not have counted. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. We're going to start out. We're going to hit you real hard, real fast, right away. We are talking about Lord of the Rings, guys. Lord of the Rings.
Uh-oh.
We're going to find you and bind you or some shit like that. That is going up against another fantasy classic. We are talking about Willow. Hello. Lord of the Rings, an epic classic written by an epic writer versus Willow, produced by George Lucas. How amazing is that? Come on. A Ron Howard film, Willow, up against a Peter Jackson film, Lord of the Rings. Now, how are you going to do this? How are you going to vote? How is that going to happen?
Now, the Lord of the Rings does not include the Hobbit films for purposes of this, correct?
Correct. Just the Lord of the Rings.
All right.
And let's see, Ultraman, stay tuned. At least 50% of that list that you just gave will be in there. So, it's coming.
So, would anyone like to take Willow?
Yeah, I'd love to. Ron Howard tells a story, a fantasy tale, about a small community that has Willow Ufgood and his wife find a child by the riverside. And they take that child in as part of their family and try to take care of it for their own, only to find out that it's a Daikini baby. It's a giant baby, because, they're of the smalls. And they not only is this child a Daikini baby, but it is a princess, I believe? Princess Aurora, if I recall, or Ahura, or Amora, or Babora. But I don't know. Anyway, it's a small red-headed baby that's cute as a button, and that's going to be the ruler of a kingdom soon, unless the evil queen, the evil witch, Bamorda, comes and destroys the child, thereby taking over basically the kingdom, which is the world. And it's up to Willow to protect this child with the help of two tinier little characters, one played by Kevin Pollak, and Mad Mardigan, the greatest swordsman that ever lived, played by none other than, yes, you guessed it, the Iceman, Val Kilmer. So, great film. A lot of fun. A lot of fantasy. A lot of good times. That is going up against Lord of the Rings. Do we even need to discuss Lord of the Rings?
You know what's interesting about this, real quick, though? Both of these movies have TV shows coming out next year.
That's true.
That's true.
Willow has a series coming on Disney Plus, whereas Lord of the Rings has an Amazon series coming out soon. For those of you that haven't cast your vote, I've started the shot clock, so please go ahead and do so. And I'm going to go through the list and see where we're at. Now, I will count the Willow votes, okay? That's easy enough.
The Willow vote.
And Darren can count the Lord of the Rings votes. And let's see where we're at, okay?
I'm going to run out of fingers.
Let's see. Josh says Lord of the Rings. Adam says Lord of the Rings tops everything. Gabe says, damn, this is tough. Austin says Lord of the Rings. Mom says Willow. Dad says Willow. Ultraman Magnus says Willow, hands down. Ryan Kane says Lord of the Rings. Ultraman says Bored of the Rings. Aiden says Lord of the Rings. Adam says, fun fact, I know Ron Howard's son, Reed. He married a coworker and friend of mine, LOL. Wow, that is random.
It's tremendous.
6 degrees separation.
Maria says Lord of the Rings. Amy says Lord of the Rings, though Willow is a fave. Janet says, hey. Hey, Janet. Enrique says, I love both, but I have a soft spot in my heart for Willow. So Enrique's voting Willow. Janet says Alora. Thank you, Janet, for it is Alora Dannon. That's right, Alora Dannon. Yeah. And there we go. Adams even says Alora Dannon. Janet says Willow for me. That's getting up there on the Willow, Darren. I don't know. Adam says The Rings of Power is an abomination. Gabe says Lord of the Rings. And Geo says Willow. So.
And he says Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so where are we at with these numbers?
I've got 11.
All right, I have a measly 6 for Willow. So it sounds like Lord of the Rings kind of crushed him. But Willow put up a darn good fight.
Put up a good fight.
Yeah, if it only would have put up a better fight at the box office.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, it is getting a series, though. Think about that.
That's stunning to me.
Right? And Val Kilmer's going to be in it as Man Mardigan, if you can believe it.
It's just interesting, because that film always carried a reputation of being a tremendous, disappointing flop. And the fact that it's kind of found a new life is very interesting.
Yeah.
I have to say. Very interesting.
Extremely interesting. And I hope it does extremely well. I hope it is very good, the new Willow series.
Sure.
I hope it's extremely, extremely well done. And we just keep getting things like this, that they keep bringing back pieces of our childhood and making them amazing. But I digress. Let's move on to the second battle so we're not dragging this on all night for you people. We're talking about Ripley. We're talking about Alien. And Alien... Oh, look at that. Look at that ugly mug. And then there's the picture of the alien next to Kevin.
Now, beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
That was great. That was
beauty's
great.
in the eye of the beholder.
I'll be here all
some
week.
People might find it attractive.
That's true. That's true. They also might find the Men in Black attractive. So we have Alien versus Alien Hunters. So we have Alien versus Men in Black. Now, anybody want to take either one of these? Because I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm happy to go over either one.
Alien.
Go for it.
I'll take Alien. Alien came out in 1979, directed by Ridley Scott. Sigourney Weaver, playing Ripley for the first time, a very monumental and classic character, a woman, taking control and, showing vulnerability, but at the same time exercising power to overcome great adversity against a absolute vicious alien monster.
Mm-hmm.
Great suspense, great horror.
To add to what you're saying, Kevin, Ridley Scott, 1979 and 1982, came out with Alien and Blade Runner. Those two films inspired a visual look that has really carried on through many science fiction films. Matrix comes to mind, Minority Report, all sorts of these really inspirational look. But I think it's, Alien is very interesting. It's a feminist classic, if you will. It shows, Kane naturally gets impregnated, and because, men are not supposed to be pregnant, he dies. And I found that like a very fascinating thing, and to have this woman kind of save humanity, it's very interesting. It's a lot deeper, I think, than people give it credit for. But other than that, I would love to get into the endless debate of what is better, Alien or Aliens. That should be just a podcast in and of itself.
Yeah, and for those that you don't know, Men in Black was originally a Malibu Comics
That's right.
produced series from Aracel, I believe. Aracel?
Yeah, Aircell.
Aircell.
I think it was.
Yeah, comics publications, which was produced by Malibu Comics. Very low print run on that one. And then they took the idea, and Columbia TriStar, which is basically Sony, took the idea and created this four movies now. It's kind of an empire almost of fun. Men in Black's a lot of fun. It's just basically two guys, one Kay and I can't remember the other guy's name because I'm terrible at names. And it's Will Smith. So there we go. So these guys, one's a veteran, Kay is, and Will Smith is the rookie, and he's kind of getting taught the ropes of how to handle and work in an organization that technically doesn't exist, but has existed to hunt bad aliens and to also help keep good aliens in line, kind of a police force for aliens, so to speak. With that, let's go to some voting. I do want to say that Trevor did mention that for those that hadn't seen it, Prey is really good. He watched it on Hulu. I agree totally. I watched it last night. I think Prey is the second best Predator film to have come out since the original. Yeah, it's really
better than Part 2 with Danny Glover.
Yes,
Really?
that one's just silly. It's still good. Don't get me wrong, but it's silly. Different reasons. So I think Prey brings it back to the original's roots and makes a really good, really compelling story. So I highly recommend it if you get a chance to watch it. It is on Hulu. So let's start counting some votes. Kevin, let's have you do Alien, and Chris, let's have you do Men in Black. How about that?
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right, Mom says Men in Black, Dad says Men in Black. Enrique says Alien, Gio says Alien, Adam says Alien, Josh says this is tough because they are different genres. One is a comedy and the other is more of a drama. Austin says Alien. Aiden says, you're right, Trevor. Sure, Aiden says, I love both, but I have to go with Alien. Ultraman's deciding. Trevor says Alien, no doubt. Amy says Alien. Trevor changes his mind and says Men in Black. So take away one from Alien and give one to Men in Black. Adam says Men in Black is a movie and Alien is a film. That's not a vote. Maria says Alien. Mom just says the letter J, but they've already voted. Ryan says Men in Black. Ultraman says love them both, but after the slap, got no love for Will. Alien. Josh says Men in Black. Gabe says Men in Black. Kate says Men in Black. And she also says one of my favorite sci-fi films. So where are we at with these votes?
And 8 votes for Men in Black.
I'm at 6.
You got what? Chris?
I was supposed to be counting Men in Black, Kevin.
Yeah.
No, I said Alien has 8. That's what I said.
You said Men in Black.
Yeah, pretty sure you said Men in Black.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So 8 for Alien and 6 for Men in Black.
Yes.
Let me tell you, if this does go to the Supreme Council, Vincent D'Onofrio's performance will be considered in Men in Black.
Yes,
I want
and,
to be very clear about this.
and Josh also, I believe, is going Men in Black. So that's 7 to 8. So in this case, since it's so close and we're waiting for one more vote, okay, Janet says Alien, so it looks like Alien might still come out on top.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a great choice. Great choice.
Alien is 2 ahead from Men in Black. And we're going to give this another 30 seconds for people. I know I have a minute on the clock, but that's only going to be counted for 30 seconds at that time. Dino says Alien as well. Dino's just popped in.
All right. That might kill it right there. Or end it right there, I should say.
Do 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 do.
Okay, that's it. We're done. Alien wins. Moving on.
All right. This next one's interesting, to say the least.
Yes, I'm ready for this one.
All right, give me a moment here, guys. I'll take these pictures down.
Will you be taking the second film, Chris?
I
The
will
one with
be
two
taking-
with 2 words in the title.
No, I'll be taking the first one.
Oh shoot! Okay, you're right. I just skipped one. Sorry about that.
Okay, here we go. This is the third round. This is a fun one. For those that haven't seen this, this is a kind of a science fiction fantasy film that snuck up on all of us. It's A24's most successful film of all time. Just released this year. Boy, it has a crouching tiger, it has a hidden dragon, and there might be a Goonie stuffed in there somewhere in between. We're talking about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. and this is a Michelle Yeoh starring film. Fantastic performance by her. Just a great film overall. Highly recommended if you get a chance to see it. I know that it didn't get to show in a lot of theaters across the U.S., but in some of the major cities, it definitely played.
It's been reopened, and it's in the theaters again. They re-released it, so kind of a national.
And what's it going against?
And that one is basically, this one is you have to kind of go into a parallel world with everything everywhere all at once, which is the reason why this one is going up against another film with a very similar type of structure, and that is The Matrix. So we have Everything Everywhere All at Once versus The Matrix. Chris, do you want to just describe Everything Everywhere All at Once really quickly for everybody?
Yeah, basically Everything Everywhere All at Once about a woman trying to get her taxes filed. And while she's at the tax office, all this crazy stuff happens, and she ends up getting dragged into this alternate reality, this alternate universe. And a battle for universes ensues, and it has Jamie Lee Curtis in a really good supporting role, like a really, really good supporting role.
Yeah.
It has a Short Round, and it has some of the most ridiculous fight scenes that you could ever see in a movie.
Hot dog fingers.
Hot dog fingers and other things that's not appropriate for TV, used as weapons later on in the movie at the end. And it's hilarious and super funny. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's super artistic. Like, when they're going through universes, it's everything I wanted Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness to be.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, really get that. It is a fantastic movie, and it's like I said, it's the fact that it's getting a second wide release, and it's a long one. It's not just like it's not like a week. It's like it was re-released like a couple weeks ago, and it's still playing. So yeah, if you have not seen it, go check it out. It's really good.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to do The Matrix?
Yeah, go for it.
The Matrix is, of course, directed by the Wachowskis. Came out in 1999. Is an absolutely mind-blowing film that really raises a lot of interesting questions. It's very philosophically very deep. It asks, what is the meaning of being alive versus being asleep? The idea of having a world that is the phony world that we live in called the Matrix that's been created by computers versus, of course, the real world, which has been destroyed by artificial intelligence. I mean, it's just, obviously, I'm sure you've all seen it. It's just a mind-blowing movie. I don't know how else to put it. It's very rare that you will get a science fiction film that has such great action movie pieces coupled with such a deep philosophical screenplay. It's really like a home run. And the Wachowskis, of course, have never been able to come close to matching it with any of their other films. So, I mean, it's kind of like a movie that came out, and I just think the coincidence of it coming out all at once, everything had to be perfect for that movie to work, and it absolutely did. It's just a real classic. So, I mean, obviously, very excited to see this one on the list.
Yep. And once touted as being stolen by Grant Morrison, that wrote comic books for DC Comics back in the day, Vertigo line, The Matrix came out not far on the heels of his series that he created for that, I believe it was called the Invisibles, I believe was the name of it. So that's an interesting little tidbit of information. Whether that's true or not, I can't say. But The Matrix definitely left its stamp on the cinematic world, and it was definitely parodied for many, 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 many years after. So there's that, and let's not even talk about the sequels. But okay, so we're not doing a minute on the shot clock because we talked more than a minute about these films. So let's start counting some votes. Chris, you're going to do Everything Everywhere All at Once. Darren, you're going to do The Matrix. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right. Let's see. Mom's not voting. Dad's not voting because they haven't seen either. Josh didn't see Everything Everywhere All at Once. Adam says he's not voting because he's only seen The Matrix. Katie says The Matrix. Josh says Everything Everywhere All at Once. Josh Sparrow says Matrix. Maria says Everything Everywhere All at Once. Favorite film this year. Trevor says Men in Black 2 is greater than Men in Black 1. I don't know about that
Good
one.
one. Good one.
Let's see. Trevor says I vote for The Matrix. And let's see. Aiden's going with The Matrix. Janet says love them both, but have to go with The Matrix. Amy says I have not seen the first one. I added it to my list, though. Voting for Matrix for an unlimited amount of reasons. Gio says he's going with the red, or with the blue plus red pill. So I guess he's going with The Matrix. Adam says The Matrix is possibly the Beatles of sci-fi in modern day standards.
Love it.
Well, I would say if it was supposed to be the best, I would say it's probably the Monkees in modern day sci-fi standards, Adam. So there's that.
Yeah, this is...
Ultraman says Matrix. FYI, Matrix Resurrection is not canon. Enrique says, I love both, but I'll give it to the underdog. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Ryan is saying Matrix. Dino says, this is silly. The Matrix is an iconic film. Raptor Bacon says, at Sherlock. Okay, so I'm not crazy, LOL. Austin says Matrix, and Gabe says The Matrix. Sounds like The Matrix kind of ran away with it. Am I correct?
Yeah, votes.
No surprise.
I feel like part of it, I feel like the movie suffered in the fact that a lot of people haven't seen it.
Yeah, and we knew that was going to be the case going in. Yeah.
Dude, The Matrix is amazing. I mean, I honestly would be surprised if... Well, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it will go quite far in this competition.
I personally would have voted voted for Everything Everywhere All at Once against The Matrix. As much as I love The Matrix, I feel it's a better made movie.
All right. And there we go. And now to close out this side of the bracket, we are on team number 4. And quite a pairing this is. We have You Are Under Arrest. We're talking about RoboCop.
OCP.
And if you haven't seen the YouTube short where he just shoots everybody in the dick, please do yourself a favor and watch it. It is well worth it. It is so good. RoboCop is going up against another film. I don't know how it made it in here, but it did. Edward Scissorhands. So we've got
It's a fantasy film.
we've got RoboCop against Edward Scissorhands. Scissorhands. There we go.
Put this movie on the list to begin with.
I mean,
Wasn't me.
RoboCop. RoboCop is one of the great films of all time. I mean, came out in 1987. It's very colorful. It's very violent. It's very offensive in a lot of ways. Basically, what takes place is in the city of Detroit, the police are going on strike, so there has to be police officers on the street. So they create, basically a cyborg out of a dead person named Murphy, played by Peter Weller, of course. And RoboCop is born, and he's basically a cyborg who's the perfect, if you will, like law enforcement officer. It's obviously a very kind of it's a I don't want to say deep film, but it definitely does not have everything to do with that plot line. There's a lot of things that they do in here to express media propaganda. He actually used this exact same tactic in a later one of his films called Starship Troopers. It's just such an offensive movie, but it's also like one of a kind too. I just love it. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous, but I love it.
And that is up against Edward Scissorhands. Edward Scissorhands is about a guy that has scissors for hands. It is basically a modern-day retelling of Frankenstein.
This is Johnny Depp. No.
Is that what it is now? I never understood it. I'll have to rewatch it under that lens.
Yeah, definitely. Modern-day Frankenstein. Okay. It is a goth fantasy told by none other than Mr. Tim Burton, who is himself living in a goth fantasy. So you have that. It has Johnny Depp. It has what is her name?
Winona Ryder?
Thank you, Winona Ryder. And a host of other people, but those are the two main ones, the two important actors in there, as it is a love story between the two of them. So keep that in mind when you rewatch it. So RoboCop versus Edward Scissorhands. Let's put a minute on the clock.
That director, Paul Verhoeven. Okay,
That's it. Yep. Yeah. Aiden says that YouTube short about RoboCop is amazing. Josh Turner says, fun fact, RoboCop was shot in Houston. Like, you mean he was shot? Because he was shot, like, gunned down, in the film, so...
Well, Donald, maybe we should contact a friend of the show, Calvin, who was actually in RoboCop. Perhaps he could clarify all of this for us.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, we could definitely ask Calvin. That would be cool. But I know what you meant, Josh. You meant it was filmed in Houston. But it was basically took place in Detroit, supposedly. Raptor Bacon, which is Adam, he says, Edward isn't sci-fi, is it? No, it's fantasy. This is sci-fi versus fantasy. Sci-fi fantasy kind of world. So some sci-fi versus sci-fi, some fantasy versus fantasy, and some sci-fi versus fantasy will be in this. Dino says it should have been Terminator versus RoboCop. That's a great pairing, but however, not enough people voted for Terminator on the Facebook page, Friends of the Real Short Box. You got to get in there. You got to get on the page, Friends of the Real Short Box, in order to vote ahead of time so you know what's making it into these rounds so you can be a part of that. So hit us up. We'll invite you into Friends of the Real Short Box. And speaking of hitting us up, why don't you give us some likes, give us some comments, definitely subscribe to our page if you have yet to do so. We would very much appreciate that. We are Rumble Spoon Productions, and we are on YouTube. We are also the Real Short Box under any podcast platform, basically, so you can check us out there, too. Ryan says, all right, let's start the voting, because we're starting to get votes. Let's see. Darren, you're RoboCop. Kevin, you are Edward Scissorhands. How about that?
Right.
Ryan Kane says RoboCop. Enrique says, I've seen the RoboCop Dick Massacre. Hilarious. Gabe says RoboCop. Enrique says RoboCop. Mom and Dad, no vote. Let's see. Ultraman Magnus says, my vote goes for Alex James Murphy. So he's voting RoboCop. Adam says, people gave me shit for saying Scissorhands is like Frankenstein. Well, I think that they're wrong. So how about that? He's going with RoboCop. Amy says, Edward Scissorhands, great cast, and I mean Tim Burton. Katie says RoboCop. Josh says the movie. Oh, gotcha, Josh. Ultraman Magnus says Demolition Man. That's a different film, buddy. Aiden says had to walk away, but I vote RoboCop. Austin says Scissorhands. Josh says I vote RoboCop. The NES game was fire. Adam, I definitely will send you an invite to the page on Facebook. So thank you for asking. And where are we at with the votes, gentlemen?
I only have 2 for Edward Scissorhands. So
I have 8 for RoboCop, so I think it's fair for me to say, dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yeah, we're just going to say RoboCop made that. How about that?
Swell.
Okay, moving on to the next bracket, guys. Now we're halfway through that bracket, so it's as soon as we're done with this bracket, it's going to go so fast your head's going to spin. And by the way, stick with us till the end. We are giving away a free prize. If you are on at the end, we'll put your name in, and if you win, you will get a free Blu-ray. We will do that. So what Kevin will do is he will text me a picture of the winner. I will show it on the screen as we announce who wins on the Wheel of Fun. Adam says, can anyone guess what Tim Burton movie Miley Cyrus was in without Googling? If I was guessing, I would say Big Fish. Just a random guess, though.
It's a very good guess.
That would make sense, actually, because she was playing that Hannah Montana character around that time.
Was she Hannah Montana?
Yeah, around that time, yeah.
And I was working on that movie in Malibu.
Huh. Okay. All right, so here we go. This is a big second bracket, guys. This is going to be huge. We're talking about the battle of well, none other than True Love. And we're talking about, Wesley and Buttercup. And we're talking about The Princess Bride. And The Princess Bride is a fantastic fantasy film that was directed by Rob Reiner and stars Peter Falk and Peter Falk and Peter Falk. He was basically the star. There's nobody else in the film.
Andre the Giant. Come on now. Andre the Giant's in there.
Well, oh, yeah, that's right. He's in there, too.
Yes, apparently so is Mandel Patinkin.
Yes, Mandy Patinkin. Yes, and he's fantastic as Inigo Montoya. And Princess Bride is going up against another interesting pairing, Creature from the Black Lagoon, guys. Go figure. So Princess Bride versus Creature of the Black Lagoon, another love story. So this is why it fits really well. Hey, Alex, thanks for joining. Alex Banquita in the house, yo. What up? All right. Oh, hey. Adam says I got it right on. It was Big Fish. So
that's a great.
Made sense.
Yes.
Made sense. And by the way, guys, this is going to be a slaughter. I hate to say this. This is going to be an absolute slaughter.
Yeah. Let's not count the Creature from the Black Lagoon out, Kevin.
I mean, I guess this is what you get.
I already have.
This is what you get when you have the people that voted Murder, She Wrote as the best TV show.
There you go.
I mean, it definitively is not the best TV show.
And by the way, if we have a tie, it goes to the Supreme Council. That is us. We put on funny costumes, stupid hats, whatever we can. And if there is a tie between us, and we have to have a tiebreaker for the tiebreaker, it goes to this bag right here, with one special magic coin inside that we don't know what it looks like.
You know, Donald, I gotta ask: is it possible that we can do a future podcast? I'm inspired by The Princess Bride here. Can we do a future podcast of good or great films with absolutely horrible soundtracks?
I could get behind Lady Hawk. I mean, I can get behind that. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah. Because Princess Bride has like the lousiest soundtrack for a great film, I think, ever.
I don't know. I think Lady Hawk's pretty terrible, but
no, I'd have to see it. But it jumps out at me that there's so much right about this movie, and then there's the soundtrack that just sounds like it came from like PBS or something.
Mm-hmm. All right.
A lot of movies in the '80s were that way.
So these movies,
I disagree.
I'm pretty sure people know these movies very well. We don't really have to describe them. So, Chris, why don't we have you count The Princess Bride, and Kevin, why don't you have you do The Creature of the Black Lagoon? How about that?
You do the Black Lagoon? Well, that's messed up. Okay.
What? Do what?
I'm joking.
Oh my God! All right.
So sensitive.
Aiden says, "Oh, you forgot Andre the Giant. Come on, Donald."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also forgot the two leads too, buddy, and Billy Crystal. Yeah, of course. And there's a lot of actors in there and actresses. Okay, so Mom says Princess Bride, Dad says Princess Bride, Josh says Princess Bride, Adam says Princess Bride. Going up the Black Lagoon is inconceivable. Enrique says Princess Bride. Alex says never saw Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I want to. Alex, I'm going to tell you something. I haven't seen it either, but I have it. I own it, and I will be watching it this year. Ultraman Magnus says Princess Bride. Ryan Kane says Princess Bride. Austin says Princess Bride. Katie says Princess Bride. Amy says Princess Bride. Yes, it's the Legion of Doom, Alex. Let's see. Adam is really excited about your idea, Darren. Dino says it's official. The best drugs and alcohol is being consumed by people who love watching this. Maria says, I gotta give love to our underdog Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I adore both. Ultraman Magnus, King Kong is not in the running. Although I appreciate that. Adam says the best soundtracks are by Randy Edelman. Sherlock says Darren is right. Worst soundtrack for a great film. What are some other great films with bad soundtracks? Ricky, thanks for joining. He says hello, boys, and I am going with The Princess Bride. Alex Banquita is going with The Princess Bride, and he also says he's sober. Let's see. And Sherlock Holmes went with Princess Bride. So where are we at with this? I don't think I have to really ask.
You don't have to do it. This literally is only one vote for Black Lagoon, so it's absolute slaughter.
Lucky number 13 for Princess Bride.
Wow. Okay. Well,
As
y'all,
it should be.
y'all gonna have a little more trouble with this round, okay? And
It's gonna
have
be a
fun.
toughie. It'll be a toughie.
Now, you ever get lost within yourself? Are you a teenage girl with just a roaring, raging amount of emotions? Have you ever wished your brother to just go away and never come back? We're talking about Labyrinth.
It's the babe.
Babe with the
And
child.
was it the Goblin King?
I saw my baby trying
Wow.
hard as babes could try.
Talk
What
about
could I
good
do?
soundtrack.
My okay, I'm done. All right.
They were talking about bad soundtracks to good movies.
All right, and that is going up against
Can't
Beetlejuice.
say his name.
Nope.
Oh no, he said his name.
I said his name once. That's okay. I won't say Beetlejuice again.
Little guys.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. So we have Labyrinth versus Beetlejuice, the movies of female teenage angst. So let's do this. Labyrinth, Beetlejuice. Anybody want to talk about either one?
I'll talk about Labyrinth because it's one of my favorite movies.
Do it.
Yeah, Jennifer Connelly. Her first appearance in a movie. I don't know if it's her first appearance. Her first like lead. Young Jennifer Connelly. Of course, you got the Hensons or the Henson Company making all the Muppets and kind of going away from the Muppets and trying to create this darker world. Doing Labyrinth. It has some of the coolest creations for puppets, I think, in the history of creations of puppets. And of course, we have pop stars, and we have the babe with the power. Need I say more?
And that's going up against Beetlejuice. So basically, a husband and wife, newlyweds, purchase a home out in the rural area of some state that looks like Indiana. They purchase a home there. Unfortunately, there's an accident. They both drive off a covered bridge and die. They come back home, don't realize they're dead, told they're dead by the ghostial, what would you say, kind of government entity that tells them they're dead, gives them a book on this and says, hey, make it work. People are going to move into your home and it's your job to haunt them to get them out. So they try and they try and they try, and they get tempted by a character named Beetlejuice who says, hey, you let me do it. I'll get rid of him. I'll save the day. But what they don't know is Beetlejuice is actually not a nice dude. And he has ulterior motives. So the family that moves in, the daughter is very angsty, and she can actually see the ghosts, whereas the other parts of the family, the mom, the dad, and the weird Uncle Otho, cannot. I don't even think Uncle Otho is related, but we'll call him Uncle Otho just for that reason. And so it's all about them trying to rid the house of the ghosts. Meanwhile, Lillian, the daughter, is trying to help Gina Davis and Adam Baldwin live happily in their home as ghosts in a very cohesive, parasitic-like manner. So it's an action fantasy comedy. It's really well done. It's a Tim Burton film, of course. It's a second Tim Burton film on this list. And it's great, and it should be seen if you have yet to see it. So that's Beetlejuice.
So, Chris, I had a hunch on this, Chris, and I just had to fact check it to make sure it was true. Jennifer Connelly's first film was Once Upon a Time in America, the Sergio Leone classic. Easily for what it's worth, one of my 25 greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, I didn't think it was her first, but I think it's her first lead, right?
Well, according to the IMDb Pro, it just for film, not TV, all that stuff. But yeah, it's a whole different situation we can talk about later. But yeah, no, that's kind of what's being credited as her first film.
So we have a minute on the clock. There's about 20 seconds left. Adam says, I miss Kevin. He was one of the nicest people I met in L.A. Oh, that's nice.
Well, thank you.
Maria says, but that disco weird... Oh, wait, they're talking back and forth. Let's see. Adam also says this one is tough. Let's get started. Chris, you do Beetlejuice. Kevin, let's have you do Labyrinth. How about that?
All right.
Okay, Austin's going Beetlejuice. Maria says this is impossible. Ultraman says Labyrinth. Katie says Labyrinth. Josh says Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Adam says Labyrinth. Alex says Beetlejuice. Let's see. Amy loves them both, but she's going Labyrinth. Mom says Labyrinth. Dad says Labyrinth. Enrique says Beetlejuice. Aiden says Beetlejuice because I went to school with Alec Baldwin's daughter. Well, that's cool. Adam says my cat's name is Bowie. Ricky says Labyrinth for me, but my fiance would say Beetlejuice. But we're only counting one. We're going Labyrinth. Alex says Sylvia Sidney is in Beetlejuice 2. Dino says I can't have a Beetlejuice poster, but I definitely have a Jennifer Connelly poster. Both cool, but Jennifer Connelly is hot, so I'm rolling with her and Bowie, so he's voting Labyrinth. Gabe says Beetlejuice, and Maria is saying Beetlejuice. So where are we at on these votes?
I have 8 votes for Labyrinth.
I got 7 for Beetlejuice.
Uh-oh. So we need one more for Beetlejuice for it to be a tie. So let's go 30 seconds on the clock and see if we get a tie here.
Speaking of Beetlejuice, I happened to recently spend some time in New York, and I saw the musical of Beetlejuice. And I gotta say, it's probably one of the best experiences in the theater that I've ever had.
Wow.
So,
That's saying something.
Really makes a really good Broadway musical experience.
Wow, that is really saying something, buddy. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. Josh says Labyrinth. So it sounds like Labyrinth has just done Beetlejuice in on that 30-second vote.
Which Kevin is he talking about? Alex says Kevin says Beetlejuice?
Probably you.
No,
So-
Supreme Count? Okay.
It looks like Labyrinth
Alright.
took Beetlejuice, guys. That's surprising.
I mean, the babe has power.
I
That's
guess
true.
so.
The baby does have power.
To me, it was not even close. I think Labyrinth should have crushed Beetlejuice. But
Yeah.
hey,
All right, here we go. Now this is the battle of the big leagues, the monsters. This is a big one. We're going Jurassic Park, of course. I'm not going to explain it. If you need an explanation, just in the chat, ask for one, and I'll give you the dime store explanation of the film. Otherwise, we're going to move on from that, and then we're going to be going up against Dragonheart with Sean Connery and Dennis Quaid.
I'm going to put my thumb on the scale here. I'm going to say that Dragonheart is not even Sean Connery's best movie of 1996. That would go to The Rock with
Oh
Michael
my God, yes.
You know what? That's a good point. That's a good point.
A movie I was very disappointed in didn't make the best action movies list. I was very, very disappointed by that.
Okay, so
Agreed.
Alex Benquita wants a dime store explanation, so I'm going to give it to you really quick, Alex. Dinosaurs died, but guess what? They're back to life. They put DNA in it so they can kind of have babies on their own. They take over this giant park that they weren't supposed to take over, and people are in trouble. Done.
What year did the movie come out, Donald?
1993.
There you go.
Directed by one Mr. Peter Jackson.
No.
There you go.
Right. Or Steven Spielberg, I guess. Take your pick.
Guys, there's 2 pieces of news that I would like to bring up. Just one now and one later, but one now. Could we please give an RIP to Olivia Newton-John?
Oh, no. Oh, yes, right.
Yep, she
Yes.
passed away earlier today. And let's see. Josh says they really needed more than one IT guy. That would have solved so many issues. So
Poor
Dragonheart.
Sam Jackson.
Anybody want to explain Dragonheart, by the way? It's about
But I know that Sean Connery plays a dragon.
Sean Connery is the voice of a dragon that befriends a knight that's supposed to slay the dragon, who then become friends and try to protect each other from a more evil realm that comes after and trying to destroy the dragon, is after the dragon's heart, which is supposed to have supreme power or some shit. So,
And I think it has about as many sequels as Jurassic Park does.
It does have a lot, yes, it does. Universal has run this franchise, I'm not going to say into the ground, but they've run it right along the path of the ground. They've run it a lot. They've milked it, in other words.
You know, in preparation of Dominion and rewatching a number of these Jurassic Park movies, you know, this original Jurassic Park, something that like didn't stick out to me before, but really sticks out to me when I watch it now. It is so well shot; it's unbelievable. Like the framing and the camera work is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
This is like might be Spielberg near his best or at his best, just capturing imagery. I mean, it's so good, and obviously to me, Ian Malcolm makes everything in this movie. Like he is the reason.
Jeff Goldblum.
Well, Sir Attenborough.
Well, and the combination of animatronics mixed with digital effects, I think worked really well. Blending those two together was a really smart move, and the fact that you can go to the ride, the Jurassic Park ride, and still see that to this day, a blending of animatronics with special effects like that is spectacular. It's really well done.
And as always, R.I.P. always Stan Winston, the great creature creator of film and television.
Yep.
Okay. These dinosaurs.
So let's do this. Darren, you're going to be Jurassic Park. Chris, you're going to be Dragonheart. Katie says Jurassic Park. Ricky says Jurassic Park. Alex is losing his mind. Adam says, I love Dragonheart, but Jurassic Park is a masterpiece, so he says Jurassic Park. Amy says Jurassic Park. Alex says, Peter Jackson, who that? And then he just found out that she died also. Olivia Newton-John. Aiden, I don't know if her husband faked his death. Enrique says Jurassic Park. Alex, you want an explanation of what a dragon is? It's if a dinosaur and a bald eagle like got at it and had like hardcore sex. It has to be really rough though in order to create a dragon. That's the only way that it can be done. Just to let you know. Let's see. Ultraman Magnus says Jurassic Park. Mom says Jurassic Park. And Dad says Dragonheart, or vice versa. Either way, Dragonheart gets a vote. Maria says they are con artists. They go from town to town hustling people pretending to kill the dragon. Is that it? I don't remember. All right. Maria's got the better explanation than me. Ultraman Magnus says enemy mine.
Wow. Really, bro?
Wow. Alex says bummer. She was great. Katie says I agree. I love her. Austin says Jurassic Park. Of course, Maria votes for Dragonheart. Let's see. Aiden votes Jurassic Park. Gabe votes Jurassic Park. And Josh votes Jurassic Park because of Jeff Goldblum. So it sounds like Dragonheart doesn't stand a chance.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
But really, like, the Wolfgang Peterson classic, Enemy Mine, really? Is that where we're going? Okay. All right.
Okay. Next up, to complete this complete round, we are going into some strange fantasy. We're going about a green blade, basically. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And that is where her husband, Michelle Yeoh's husband, played by Chow Yun-Fat, gives her a green blade. I'm not sure if it's the ebony blade or green. I think it's just a green blade. Ebony blade's different character. Green blade or jade blade. I think it's a green blade. Gives the green blade to her, but it gets stolen, and then the race is on to retrieve the blade to save a kingdom. That is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And that is up against, well, I guess it's just the Battle of China, because this is Big Trouble in Little China here. Jack Burton, me. That's what Kurt Russell would say anyway. And this is a fantasy that takes place in Chinatown, where Jack and his best friend basically go to pick up his best friend's girlfriend, who is then kidnapped by the Chinese Lords of Death, basically Chinese mobs, gangs that capture her, and then they go undercover to try to steal her back, along with a reporter, Gracie Hart, I believe was her name.
Yep.
And hilarity and accidents ensue, and then they join forces with a old dude with a weird eye that is a tour guide in Chinatown, but also does dark magic to fight an evil emperor sorceress type dude that plans on bringing ultimate destruction to the world. So it's a very easily convoluted story that's told extremely well, if that makes sense. It's just a really good movie. Both are really good movies. Highly recommend either one of them. So please check them out.
I would also like to highly recommend our Top 10 John Carpenter Films podcast, since John Carpenter directed Big Trouble in Little China. For those of you who are really big pop culturists and really big John Carpenter fans, I highly recommend the pop culture crosses our podcast excellently with our Top 10 John Carpenter list. And I fought very hard for Christine, I will have you know, for those of you who are fans. So please check that one out.
Right. Time to count the votes.
Give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's see. Chris, you're going to crouch and hide. And Darren, you are going to be in big trouble. So Katie says, I saw the tiger hiding in the grass. I never found the dragon.
Wow. Swell.
And Chris. Katie votes for Big Trouble in Little China. Mom votes for Big Trouble in Little China. Dad votes for Big Trouble in Little China. Ultraman votes for Big Trouble in Little China. Enrique votes Big Trouble in Little China. Alex dislikes both of them. Alex is incorrect. Amy likes Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Maria says Big Trouble in Little China. Aiden says Big Trouble in Little China. Gabe says Big Trouble in Little China. Do we have to continue?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Let's go to the quarterfinals.
Sorry, Mr. Lee.
All right, we're not going to give explanations on the films this next round because it is films versus each other that we already discussed. So here we go. First matchup is going to be just a excellently weird matchup. We're talking about Lord of the Rings. What would happen in this fantasy world in Lord of the Rings if we introduced an alien? Xenomorphs, yeah. So we have Lord of the Rings versus Alien, guys. We're going to put a minute on the clock. You have a minute to cast your vote. Let's get started.
See, I think this might be a tougher decision than people think, because they're both great movies for completely different reasons. Also, too, if we're speaking of, we were talking about bad scores earlier. Here's two great scores for you. Howard Shore, of course, with Lord of the Rings, and Jerry Goldsmith doing Alien. And Harry Dean Stanton recently passed about a year or so ago, who plays Brett in Alien, and I mean, I think he passed away at like 94 or something like that. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is interesting. I gotta say, 'cause I grew up enjoying both of them. All right, Chris, what's a better movie, Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection?
I haven't seen either of them.
Great.
Oh.
Kevin?
Believe it or not, I actually like Alien Resurrection a little bit better.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
Donald?
I think Alien 3 is such a bottleneck episode of a series more so than a movie, where at least Resurrection gives you a little bit of something. I don't like either one, but I would watch Resurrection again over Alien 3.
Resurrection was written by Joss Whedon, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That is true.
And directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
And this year is the 25th anniversary of
It
Alien
sounds like I
Resurrection.
didn't miss out on much by not seeing it.
Let's count votes. Kevin, Lord of the Rings. Darren,
Right.
Alien. All right. Alex says Lord of the Rings. Austin says Lord of the Rings. Katie says Lord of the Rings. Maria says Lord of the Rings. Ultraman says Alien. Ricky says Lord of the Rings. Amy says Lord of the Rings. Sherlock says Alien. Alex says Alien only had 2 good movies. Mom says Lord of the Rings. Dad says Lord of the Rings. Josh says Lord of the Rings. I don't think we really need to keep going.
Yeah, it's not going to catch up.
Enrique says Lord of the Rings. This is terribly...
You got to be on the fence with Prometheus. That was kind of good, right? Just please comment.
It has moments. It has moments. No doubt.
Yeah. Ultraman says my favorite Alien movie is Prometheus. And Dodger818 says Lord of the Rings as well. So yeah, that's a nail in the coffin. Lord of the Rings is winning this round, everybody.
Right.
So
Next quarterfinal matchup.
So congratulations to that. This is going to be an interesting one. I wonder who's going to win this one. Let's see.
I think I know who's going to win.
Oh, yeah, you think?
Yeah.
We have the Matrix. Okay?
Yeah.
The Matrix. And that one is going up against RoboCop.
Murphy.
I think we're getting into the territory, like any of these movies we mentioned are, if you haven't seen them, you should, and if you have, they have so much rewatchability to them, it's unbelievable.
It's true. It's true.
You're getting into the territory, like you can turn these on probably at any point of the day and be perfectly satisfied.
So I'm putting a minute on the clock. We're going to just count it down. We have the Matrix versus RoboCop. Let's see where we go with this.
Mr. Anderson versus Murphy.
You know, RoboCop 2 was like the longest movie ever.
Really? For you?
It really felt it too. And
Really?
that guy who plays Kane is such a creep. Peter Noonan is his name.
May have the first R-rated movie I've ever seen.
Dude, and I think RoboCop 3 might be the most forgettable movie ever made.
Well, that was in our worst sequels. One of our worst sequels shows.
Didn't they make a 4?
They did, but there was like
Well,
straight.
they did a reboot. They did like a reboot.
No, they made
There
a
was
4.
a 4 like straight to video, I think.
Straight to video, or it was like a series that they made into a movie or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they did with Highlander when they had Bull from Night Court doing a made-for-TV version of Highlander.
Oh, jeez.
RoboCop Tune 2.
It's
Okay.
Pretty sure there was a cartoon.
Yeah, I think there was. I think there was a cartoon, a RoboCop cartoon.
There was. Yep,
There was a comic book. I know that much. Matrix comic book too, actually. Interestingly enough. So let's get started. Darren, you're RoboCop. Kevin, you're Matrix.
Hey.
Okay, Katie says Matrix. Gabe says Matrix. Enrique says RoboCop. Dodgers says RoboCop. Ricky says RoboCop. Austin says Matrix. Ultraman Magnus says Matrix, even though Matrix Resurrection sucks. Maria says RoboCop. Alex says Matrix, despite the fact the sequels are awful in my opinion. The first Matrix is amazing. I can agree with that, Alex. Josh says tough one, but I have to go with the Matrix. And where are we at?
I have 6 votes for the Matrix.
I have 4 for RoboCop.
Not far off. We've got more votes coming in. Amy is voting for Matrix. Aiden's voting for Matrix. So
I really think the next question we should be proposing is, someone had made a comment that Resurrections is not Matrix canon. I mean, it is. It sucks. But it is, right?
I think.
Yeah, it is. It sucks.
Even
But yes,
New Morpheus, it still is, right?
Yeah. All right, I think we're going to call it. Matrix is going to win.
All right. Next.
All right, next round. Here we go. Here we go. Stick with us till the end, guys. We're giving away a prize.
Now, this is an interesting matchup.
Oh, this is going to be a hard one. Oh, God, this is the worst one.
We
Good
have
one.
the Princess Bride, by the way, As You Wish, is going up against... Oh, God. Wow. This is tough.
Yeah.
See?
Up against the Labyrinth. Battle of the 80s, if I've ever heard of a Battle of the 80s.
Hello, whimsical whimsery.
All right, what do we got? Princess Bride or Labyrinth? Minute on the clock. Cast your vote now.
I think folks who watch The Princess Bride, I think a lot of people view it either from a fairy tale point of view or a comedic point of view, and I think you need to view it evenly through both, because it is definitely has serious, like, romantic fun moments, but it's also really funny. I think it kind of like that fight between Carrie Elwes and Andre the Giant is like an all-time classic, just for pure comedy. And obviously the sword fight between Elwes and Mandy Patinkin is like the standard swashbuckling scene, probably for all films to come.
Absolutely.
I am left-handed. I'm like, oh my gosh! Like, if you've ever taken rapier classes before, to be able to basically fence with both hands is unbelievably difficult.
Which hand do you
I just remember, when I was in New York, I worked on the Hudson River, the docks, and I would constantly run on the Wall of Sean on the bus.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Who would you run into?
Wall of Sean.
Inconceivable.
Oh, really? You'd run to him on the bus? Really?
On the bus, yeah, just going to the docks, yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
don't think it means what you think it means.
Huh. All right, well, let's count some votes. Chris, you're going to do Princess Bride. Kevin, you're going to do Labyrinth. How about that?
All right.
Okay, here we go. Oh, boy. Katie, Princess Bride. Ultraman Magnus, Labyrinth. Josh, Princess Bride. Aiden, Princess Bride. Ricky, Princess Bride. Amy, Princess Bride. Dodgers, Princess Bride. Mom, Princess Bride. Dad, Princess Bride. Alex, Princess Bride is the better movie. You can trust me, I'm a Spaniard. Maria, Labyrinth. Gabe, Labyrinth. Austin, Princess Bride. Enrique, Labyrinth. It sounds like Princess Bride ran away with it.
Yeah,
Sure
baby
did.
power.
Sure did.
All right,
Baby,
Princess Bride.
baby power. And now the final quarter-final matchup.
It's unfortunate Jim Henson did not make more movies. Now that I think about Labyrinth.
What a weird matchup this one is, guys. This one's really odd. This is...
It's not going to end well, though.
I don't think so. This is Jurassic Park is going up against Big Trouble in Little China. Go figure.
Yeet.
Adam, where are you? All
You
right.
got to be like what, two completely different moods to watch these movies.
Minute on the clock, guys. Cast your vote.
Yeah, I found out the other day Michael Crichton, who wrote the novel of Jurassic Park, was actually 6'9".
Yep, he was a tall guy.
So he made him. So that's why there's a T-Rex in the movie. He wanted to be represented on screen.
Yeah, I don't know if his arms were that short, but yeah, no.
He had voice to speech to type.
Plus, he was an attorney, too, if I recall.
Well, that was fair at some of his books.
He produced that very popular show, It
Err.
actually,
S-E-R.
it ran for so long. He actually died, and it was still running.
Also,
Oh, wow.
ER, I believe he was a producer or co-creator of that show, too.
Yes. Oh,
All right.
absolutely.
Bloodbath time, guys. Let's go.
It was
Chris, you are Jurassic Park. Darren, you're Big Trouble. Okay, Alex says Jurassic Park. Amy says Jurassic Park. Austin, Jurassic. Katie, Jurassic. Maria, Big Trouble. Enrique, Big Trouble. Ricky, Jurassic. Dodgers, Jurassic. Ultraman, Jurassic. Josh, Jurassic. Gabe, Jurassic. Alex says 6'9", big deal. I'm 6'11", and I'm not that tall. Dino says Jurassic Park for Dino. Mom says Jurassic Park. Dad says Big Trouble, or vice versa. And Aiden says Jurassic Park. So where are we on the votes? Sounds like Jurassic Park ran away with it.
Yeah, I think 3 votes for China.
Okay, so Jurassic Park is going to take it. Now this leaves for some very strange matchups here indeed. We have a fight to end all fights here. Who wins this one? When you have pure fantasy in The Lord of the Rings going up against pure science fiction in The Matrix.
This might be the best matchup of the night.
These are heavy hitters.
This might be the best matchup of the night. This would have been a great championship round.
This might be the champion of the whole thing.
That's true.
We don't know.
That's true.
These are really heavy.
Minute on the clock, guys. Let's go. Cast your
You know,
vote.
Darren, to give you some college football perspective, remember that SEC title game 10 years ago between Alabama and Georgia? And basically, you knew the winner was going to win the whole thing, and then Alabama destroyed Notre Dame in the national championship game. That's basically what this is.
you may be right. Yeah, this is serious business here. I mean, you know, a lot of us are old enough to remember the impact of The Matrix and The Lord of the Rings. It came out 2 years after the fact. I watched my brother get hooked for life on The Lord of the Rings live in person. It was really kind of stunning. Yeah, can't say enough nice things. And Peter Jackson, man, what a visionary, creative genius he is.
I know
Mhm.
Donald gives credit to the Frighteners for him even having the opportunity to make those Lord of the Rings movies.
Well, actually, the Frighteners ruined his chance at making a King Kong film, which then allowed him to have his job
shot.
opening for Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
But he got both of them anyway. And I think his King Kong film is overlooked a lot. It's very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just,
between the
just
three
long in
King
the
Kong
tooth.
films,
Yeah, it's long, for sure.
so between the 3 King Kong films, which one's the best? One from the 30s, one from the 70s, or one from 2005?
I mean, I would slightly lean towards Jackson's in the 33 version. I think the 76 is terrible.
I really like Skull Island. I really like the new one.
It is good. They're both good. All right, let's start counting votes. Lord of the Rings will be Darren, and The Matrix will be Kevin.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Ricky says Lord of the Rings. Amy says Lord of the Rings. Maria says Lord of the Rings. Mom had to go. Sorry, Mom. Thanks for being here. Alex says Lord of the Rings. Josh says Lord of the Rings. Enrique says Matrix. Austin says Lord of the Rings. Dodger says Matrix. Aiden says Matrix. Gabe says Lord of the Rings. Ultraman Magnus says Matrix. Dodger says Follow the White Rabbit. So he already voted, though. Aiden says Harry Potter is a better fantasy IP than Lord of the Rings. Enough said. Okay. Carol Cake says Lord of the Rings. Emily, thanks for joining. And there we go. What are the vote counts, guys? What do we got?
I
I
have
have
8 for Lord of the Rings.
I
Okay.
have 4 for the Matrix.
You can add
Wow.
one for the 80.
5. Okay, so 8 to 5. That still means Dino says the Matrix, so 8 to 6.
Isn't it interesting? It's getting interesting.
8 to 6. We'll put 30 seconds left on the clock to see if anybody else wants to chime in a vote. Josh says the Matrix, so the Matrix is
wow.
only one off from tying Lord of the
I may have to
Rings.
get the robes out.
Very
I may have to get the
interesting.
robes out. Oh my goodness! One more. We may have to bring the robes.
So one more
There I
vote
go.
for the
So
Matrix, and it is a tie, everybody.
Oh my goodness!
And it goes to
You know
the
what time it is.
Supreme Council.
Yes, finally.
The Legion of
We have-
Doom, says Alex.
We are a very established.
Kevin's too excited. Look at him. He's already getting dressed. Kevin, no other vote has been cast for the Matrix yet.
He's saying if we get another vote, Kevin.
Oh,
If we get another vote. We haven't gotten
excited.
another vote.
get excited.
I'm
Get
pretty
the
sure that
robes
30
on.
seconds up.
Now people haven't voted
Yep.
yet. There's still some people who have not voted yet. Help me put the robes on. Come on.
I'll give him 10 more seconds, Kevin. That's all they get.
Just in case this wasn't thrilling enough, you can leave it to us 4 jabronis to decide for you.
Yep. This hasn't happened yet, though. Last week it was
I know.
all the council
That's-
the whole
it's like-
time.
it's like, I know.
All right, that's it. Lord of the Rings takes it.
Wow, a squeaker.
As it should.
Oh, wait. Someone just said something.
Elliot says Matrix.
No.
I can't count that one.
I did send him Elliot the link, so I don't know if maybe they're hanging out.
Do you know, are you hanging out with Elliot? Let us know.
I mean, it's the first vote that Elliot's had all night, so I don't think we should count it.
Ooh, that's cool.
I don't know. Who better to decide the outcome than us?
Well, I mean, Emily did pop in and vote, and she hasn't voted all night either. So why, we would be fair.
We should honor it.
He said Elliot's there, so it's tied.
Okay.
Okay. Now, one thing Dino doesn't do, that's lie, Alex. So don't worry about that. Trust us there. So Lord of the Rings tied the Matrix. Okay, so it's going to the council.
Yes.
Wow.
You know what? This doesn't surprise me. I told you this would be the
Okay.
best one of the night. This is probably going to decide the whole thing anyway, to be honest with you.
I got
think
the win.
The winner will win the entire thing. And the whole tournament.
Yeah, Maria says if Elliot's there, tell us a cool joke. Elliot always has good jokes.
That's true. He does.
And by the way, hello, Elliot, if you're watching. All right. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Now that we have Darren, now that we have our outfits on here, what are we saying?
Justice. Let's start with Justice Darren, or Council Darren. What say it you, sir? Who do you go?
Well, obviously, I'm equally a big fan of both of these, just in my own personal taste. So what I really have to bring it down to is the science and the perfection of filmmaking. Once again, these are so tight. It's very hard to even quantify it. But just being purely objective, not picking my favorite, just what I think is the best constructed film, I would have to go with The Lord of the Rings. I've been trying to poke holes in it for years to find weaknesses in it, and I just can't find any. It's flawless, and the fact that you can make the case that Part 3 is better than Part 1 is better than Part 2, I mean, that's unbelievable to me. The Matrix, of course, cannot do that with their sequels. It's obvious what the best is there. So I'm Lord of the Rings.
We got a joke. Elliot says, "What do you call a cold dog?" I don't know. What do you call a cold dog? God, I got a feeling on this
Shivers?
one. I got a feeling on this one, guys. I got a feeling. Anyway, all right. So Darren went with
Turner.
Lord of the Rings.
I also will go Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings a lot more than The Matrix. I've seen The Matrix twice maybe. I've seen Lord of the Rings probably 20 times. Lord of the Rings is a more entertaining movie. I'm generally more of a fantasy fan than a sci-fi fan. And it's just it is probably, in my opinion, one of the best made fantasy movies ever made. And like, I mean, there's no comparison. Like Lord of the Rings, way up here, Matrix is down, way down.
What do you call a cold dog? It's a chili dog. Well done, Elliot. Well done, sir. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody. Give Elliot a round of applause on this one. Let me pull it up here. Round of applause. There we go.
My fellow justices, I'm gonna be the contrarian here. I love both movies. Now, obviously, Lord of the Rings is the more quality, better series, obviously, but I am slightly more in favor of sci-fi than fantasy, and I can watch both of these movies, over and over and over again. But I have just a slight little thing in my heart, just a little bit more towards The Matrix. So I'm going with The Matrix.
Okay. And unfortunately, we're not going to find out what's in this bag.
I know, because I know where you're going.
Yeah, I'm going Lord of the Rings all the way. It's 3 superior films compared to overall. I look at the
one.
Yeah, the strength of it, and Lord of the Rings is far superior. So Lord of the Rings takes it on that one. So we go Lord of the Rings. So that moves on. Now we have probably the oddest matchup yet. I wouldn't understand that it went this way, but it did go this way, and it's great. We have The Princess Bride. Just a fun fantasy comedy film, romantic, fun, enjoyable, going up against just a fun science fiction adventure film, some action, Jurassic Park.
Some dinosaurs.
So we have rodents of unusual size versus dinosaurs of regular size that shouldn't be, which is unusual. So there we go. That's how you get that full circle. So we have Princess Bride versus Jurassic Park. Have 1 minute on the shot clock. Let's go.
Whatever happened to Rob Reiner as a director? Rob Reiner had a run, man.
That's true, he did.
Didn't he pass away? Did he pass away?
No, he's alive.
Is he? Okay.
2 years after this, he had When Harry Met Sally. And then in 1993, probably a film a lot of people forgot he directed, A Few Good Men, written by Aaron.
Yeah. Meathead has some talent.
This is Spinal Tap, another great Rob Reiner movie.
Mm-hmm.
The American President.
I think it's time that Rob needs to get off Twitter and get back to directing movies.
I'm not opposed to that.
What? Supposedly, Spinal Tap 2 is supposedly coming out in 2024.
Interesting.
43 years after the fact. Oh.
I could get behind it, though. I like the idea.
Well, look, Top Gun, Maverick, 36 years?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Movie Sandy Wexler, the Adam Sandler movie.
Oh, okay. Chris, you're going to do Princess Bride. Darren, Jurassic Park, okay?
Yeah.
All right, Alex says Princess Bride. Maria says Princess Bride. Ultraman says Jurassic Park. Dodger, it's 818. I'm not sure what you mean with that. Amy says Princess Bride. Austin says Princess Bride. Enrique says Princess Bride. Emily says Princess Bride. Ricky says Princess Bride. Sounds like Princess Bride land here.
I'm surprised actually by this.
Yeah, I mean,
not really. I'm not surprised.
yeah. I mean, we did have Creature from the Black Lagoon on this list.
Yep. Princess Bride looks like it ran away with it. We're going to...
Championship round.
Aiden says Princess Bride. We're going to go Princess Bride on this, just to move it along.
Championship round.
Fantasy versus fantasy.
So we have
Yeah.
Princess Bride. I'm keeping up on the screen. And that is going up against the Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Dodger said Jurassic Park. Okay, thank you, buddy. Wouldn't have made a difference, though, unfortunately. So, Princess Bride is going up against Jurassic Park. Let's see what wins. And
You said Lord of the Rings, right?
Or, I mean, Lord of the
Yep.
Rings. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Princess Bride versus Lord of the Rings. Jurassic Park was eliminated. That's
Thank
what
you.
I meant to say.
Thanks to all of you who have stuck with us this long during the podcast. You will be receiving a Blu-ray of our choosing at the end, should you be chosen the winner.
Correct.
By the way, the Blu-ray of our choosing, if it ends up being my choosing, will be the film behind me, which is Steel Dawn, starring Patrick Swayze, 1988 classic piece of trash. I think that not a single human being on this planet would say this is a good film. But, hey, you know.
You never know.
If I had to pick, it'd be Waterworld.
You know, I don't know. Should we go with, like, mailing out the Steel Dawn Moontrap Blu-ray combo? I wonder if the Enemy Mine guy would like that.
You probably would. You'd pay us for it. Okay, here we go. Kevin, you're Lord of the Rings. Darren, you're Princess Bride.
Oh.
All right.
All right, Alex, Lord of the Rings. Ricky, Lord of the Rings. Maria, Lord of the Rings. Enrique, Princess Bride. Amy, Lord of the Rings. Let's see. Austin, Lord of the Rings. Emily, Lord of the Rings. Ultraman Magnus, Princess Bride. Ultraman, Enemy Mine. You already voted Princess Bride. Enrique, I know Princess Bride isn't going to win, so I'm giving them a vote. So he's voting Princess Bride as well for Enrique. Or wait, he already voted once. Never mind. So where are we at?
I have 6 so far for Lord of the Rings.
That's 4 for the Princess Bride.
That's not bad.
That's a cool thing.
Aiden votes Princess Bride. So that's 5 to 6.
It's getting interesting.
Getting interesting.
Lord of the Rings. Kevin's got the Lord of the Rings. Where are they now? It's really
If
inspiring.
Princess Bride gets one more vote, it ties Lord of the Rings. It goes to the Supreme Council, a.k.a. the Legion of Doom. Dodgers is voting Lord of the Rings, so Lord of the Rings is now 2 ahead.
Did you think that, Kevin, who would you have had your money on to have the bigger career, Pippin or Merry?
You know, it's a good question.
Okay, Josh says
Probably-
Princess Bride.
Pippin.
That's 6.
So-
Who would you go with, Kevin?
6 to 7.
Probably Pippin.
You go with Pippin. Okay.
So one more vote for Princess Bride, and it's tied. We've got 40 seconds left on the clock for that.
You really want to leave this to us again, guys? Come on.
Well, last week we had to decide the entire championship.
Dino says
Actually, no,
Princess
we-
Bride, guys.
7-7.
7-7. Dino's tied it up. There's still 20 seconds left on the clock. If somebody wants to vote for one or the other, it could win. If not, it goes to the Supreme Council. We make the vote.
Possibly the coin, like last week, decided everything.
Possibly. Emily says Mary. Pippin would screw everything up. Oh, Dino says Elliot says Princess Bride. So Elliot, wow, Princess Bride takes the lead by 1 vote.
Elliot is making a huge impact on our podcast.
Yep.
I know. There's still some time. To
Doing
get
30
Lord of the
seconds
Rings.
left. 30
One
seconds
vote
left.
The reins. Let's take it to the
Because
Supreme.
it's so tight.
One vote to rule them all.
Ultraman Enemy Mine does not win. It is not winning tonight. It has won literally nothing.
Dude,
Except for a
Ultraman.
small place in our hearts because of you.
Ultraman, I know you're probably going to pull something out like, oh, but Lou Gossett Jr. was an Academy Award winner a couple years prior. I don't care. Alien Lou Gossett Jr. is not the way to go, bro. I'm not falling for it.
Some people haven't voted yet. Come on.
And in the mine, it's like a mine and like a mine with like minerals in it too. It's so clever. Yay. Yeah, I mean mine.
All right, that's it. That's it. Princess Bride takes it.
Oh my god.
I'm happy with this.
I'm okay with this outcome. Although I think Lord of the Rings got a little bit ripped off in a way because it's, so big and epic. But Princess Bride's a quiet little fantasy film that could, and I'm not upset that it won either.
Well, Lord of the Rings did win our trilogy tournament last year, so Lord of the Rings got some love.
The Lord of the Rings has a much better soundtrack.
No, that's true.
Agreed.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And battle scenes.
All right. All right, Princess Bride wins. Lord of the Ring loses. Princess Bride wins the ultimate showdown in the best fantasy sci-fi film of all time. So, wow, okay. And let's move on. Since we've got everybody's attention, give us a like, a little thumbs up there on YouTube Live for us. Give us a follow. I know Adam wants to be in our group, Friends of the Real Short Box. That's where you can pre-vote for these categories. That's how we come up with these challenges, is people vote in Friends of the Real Short Box. So if you want to be a part of that, just say, put me in Friends of the Real Short Box, or add me, and we will do so. We just need to know your name on Facebook in order to add you. So you can reach out to us. You can email us. You can text us. You can Twitter us. You can Facebook us. You can Instagram us. We're available on all platforms like that. So, Princess Bride wins. Kevin, let's do the Wheel of Fun since we have people listening. If you are in the chat, just type here, and we will add your name, okay?
And you will be the ones to win Invaders.
Kevin, Katie.
People like Emily's here.
Katie is here.
Katie is here. She's present.
Ricky is here. Amy is here.
Amy, okay, gotcha.
Ultraman is here. Austin is here.
Got Dino, of course.
Sherlock is here, which is Aiden. Maria is here. Enrique is not here because he won last week.
Mm-hmm.
Emily is here.
Yep, got Emily.
Okay. And let's see, anybody else?
A few other folks. Just gotta shout their names out.
Yep. If you're here, just say you're here, guys. Type here.
I guess one of the Joshes is still around.
I don't know. Dino, I don't see a response from Dino or Josh. They might have left.
No, Dino did respond. I thought he responded earlier.
I didn't see him say here. Did he?
Oh.
No.
Well, I heard it going in the other rooms. Josh is still there.
By the way, Donald, I just did some of your dirty work for you. I was trolling Bouncer on Facebook.
Ah, nice. Okay. So Dino is here. Josh is here as well. So that means Elliot is there also.
That's right.
You were trolling, huh? That's great.
Oh, yes, he said, don't even make fun of Kevin Owens for slipping on Monday Night Raw. You know you've all done it. I said, John, I can say with a lot of confidence I've never slipped on Monday Night Raw.
That's true. Dodgers 818 is here. And I think that's it, right? That's it.
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Wheel of Fun time, guys. Here we go. Wheel of Fun.
That's a good picture.
Oh,
Guess.
Gabe, adding Gabe. Gabe said he's here.
Gabe.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we're cutting it there after Gabe.
All right.
Who gets a boy in his
Well, actually, wait. Did you add Josh?
Yeah.
Josh Turner?
Oh, no, Josh Turner I did not. I thought
Josh,
you meant Josh.
No, Josh.
The other Josh.
The other Josh isn't here. Josh Turner's here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, wait. And there's the other Josh too. There's
Right. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah, I got you. Not Josh Spiro. The other Josh.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Herrera.
Right.
Ready.
Okay.
We're ready to rock and roll.
All right. Roll it and text me, and we'll announce it. Here we
right.
go. Wheel of Fun
If
time,
anything-
guys.
If anything, Donald, you're going to make the announcement.
Oh,
Put it that
okay.
way.
All right.
A first-time winner, thank God.
What? All right.
So let me take the picture.
Okay.
I'm going to text it to you to show there's no crookedness.
Has that come up? Crookedness, really?
Well, we just get accused occasionally of being
No,
shady.
we are accused of corruption.
I get it, dude. But Steel Dawn's on the line, you know.
All right, should be coming your way in about 3 seconds, Don.
All right. Excellent. All right. Let me check. And let me check again. And let me check again. And let me check again. There we go. All right, we have a winner. First time winner, long time watcher of the podcast. Dino, you win the Wheel of
All
Fun.
right.
You will get a Blu-ray of our choosing. That will be probably hand delivered to you, sir.
True.
So congratulations on winning. It will be a sci-fi fantasy film of our choosing. And I hope you enjoy. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We're going to close out. I know this ran a little long. It was odd how it kind of slowed there in the middle. But
We had a lot of fun, though.
we did have a lot of fun. We appreciate you all for watching.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for being a part of this. We're going to send him Anime Mine. Yes, Ultraman Magnus. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Please leave a like. Please leave a like.
Like, subscribe, follow us. Listen to our podcast. We got some great ones coming up. Last week, we just aired the one where we talked about why we were at Comic-Con. Some people were exhibitors. Some people were just fans there. Some people were professionals there. It was a nice mix of people just talking about their experiences while at San Diego Comic-Con. The week before that, we dropped a podcast where it was Chris, Kevin, and myself talking about being at the convention and what we felt. Chris as a fan, not having been able to go, and Kevin and I as fans, and what we thought was different, better, not as good since the prior Comic-Con, because it has been a couple years since an official SDCC Comic-Con. We will have a new podcast coming up this week. Be sure to check that out. It'll release on Thursday or Friday of this week. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you all. Maria says, fun show, guys. Have a good night. Enrique says, thank you, guys. Have a good night. Thank you, guys, for being here, for tuning in. We appreciate you all. And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you
At the bewildering, enchanting, scientific, but always glorious comic book shop.
Good night, everybody.